Welcome to another weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about the hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And in this 96th weekly episode of the show, we have quite a bit to talk about on the Marked Out Autograph Collecting on the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. I call it the forum for some reason. We're now over 6,000 users. I told you the next 1,000 would be quicker than the previous 1,000.
Yeah, these hundreds keep stacking and thousands quicker and quicker. I won't make another big deal about the number until we hit 10,000. And at this point, I think the 10,000 is going to come a hell of a lot quicker than the first 5 did.
No doubt. I mean, we're starting to have posts catch every day, every other day that are doing 10, 15, 20, 40, 60,000 impressions, and those just generate joins. And, of course, with that comes, as I like to say, the interlopers or the riffraff, but we're also gaining a lot of really good members really quickly.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's sort of like if you were going to mine for diamonds in a cesspool. Yes, you will be shoveling and sifting through a lot of feces, but you will find some valuables along the way, and that's, I think, how the interlopers and the good members kind of shake out.
I wasn't expecting mining something in feces. I don't know where we're going with that, but sure, I accept the analogy. How about that? Analogy
right.
Accepted. And so one of the big stories that get a lot of traction on the board this week was Jet Li. I mean, Jet Li is doing a big tour promoting his book that I'm sure is the top of every reader's list for this season. Will you be sitting down and reading it?
Zero chance. Honestly, I'm currently struggling with the idea that I probably should sell it because the value is pretty decent right now. But then I feel like I should have the autograph for my collection.
Are you a Jet Li fan?
Not yet, but I mean, this life is young, hopefully.
So anyway, Jet Li, he landed on the East Coast and was swarmed at the airport. The graphers were out in full force because, when someone isn't around that often, their items are scarce, and as a result, the values are high. And so really the locusts were out, huh?
Yeah, and we had one guy on the group that was all upset that the people at the airport were just trying to price gouge the fans of Jet Li to pay more for these items. And I was trying to explain to him that you can't price gouge something which has no real MSRP besides what the supply and demand dictates. And that's just not how it works. And he got all mad, shouting that I know nothing and that there's a fair price. And then obviously the fair price for Jet Li is high because he's scarce. Granted, getting less scarce now with this trip, but it's always funny to see the people that get all up in arms about the graphers that don't necessarily understand that what's on the market comes from the very people they're cursing and shaking their fist at.
Right. At the end of the day, anyone who's scarce, their supply comes from the very graphers out there at the airport and the hotel and everything else. That's where the supply comes from. For years, the whole De Niro supply was the graphers. The whole Nicholson supply was the graphers. The whole Clint Eastwood supply was that's where these things come from.
I think what it boils down to, it's like Food Inc., like those different documentaries that people get all repulsed and outraged about the conditions of the meat, and they get, what are we eating? This is gross. You don't really want to see where the sausage is made, but that's where the sausage is made. What you see for Jet Li is what got all those A-listers prior to there being private sit-downs. All of it, like you said, came from there. So this is the hobby equivalent of watching one of those documentaries because people are just repulsed by the reality.
The easiest way to kill airport graphing is to do a $50 sit-down.
Yeah.
That's it.
In large part.
You devalue, then no one's going to be chasing you. So it's really very simple. Scarcity is what drives the value, and if there's no value, if there's no scarcity, then there's no interest from the graphers. Done. There's a very, very simple end to this. But sort of by the very nature of those who were involved in the game, that end will never be met.
Only caveat I'll have is there's been a robust airport scene for wrestling, and wrestling prior to COVID was basically valueless, and people still chase the photo ops and the worthless autographs, and they're pretty accessible today, a lot of them, for relatively, although, WWE talent less and less with Fanatics. But what you're saying is largely true. It would at least get rid of the graphers, the dealers. The selfie hounds would still be, they will require a nuclear bomb to really go away. But the graphers and the dealers, yes, making everything available for cheap would sort of lessen their desire.
So Jet Li has been going around. I was going to say he's been jetting around.
Accurate.
From stop to stop, signing books, taking photos. Lots of people have been pretty resourceful about getting extras done. Pretty much from what I've seen, if you're able to get it in front of Jet Li, he will sign it. And it's just about jumping through hoops to get it in front of him, being kind of creative in doing so.
Yeah. I personally don't have, since I'm such a big Jet Li fan, I do not have like DVDs or anything that I have small enough things that I could shove into a book. I wouldn't mind just for the hell of it. If it was on the table, I would get a 11 by 14 made, but that wouldn't be easy to get to the table, and I don't really care enough to deal with all that. So I think I'm just going to go empty-handed tomorrow. How about you? Are you going to pull anything out?
I wouldn't even know what to pull. Truthfully, you kind of coerced me into doing this one. I really don't want to do it. I can't think of a Jet Li movie I've seen even.
Join the club. Do we think most of these people have seen any of his movies, or are they all like us and they're just going to get him?
I don't know, but I haven't. I mean, so what am I even going for? I just don't want to. I don't want to go.
The combo gods are watching. They're going to appreciate.
I don't give a crap. I don't want to go. I'm declaring this now. I just don't want to. It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't tell you a Jet Li movie I've seen, and if I've seen one, I don't remember which one. And I don't want to start throwing out random movies that might have had Jet Li in it, because I would be somehow making some kind of faux pas if I did that. I couldn't tell you what he's been in. So I have no idea.
I think he's in Lethal Weapon 35. Someone had a poster signed by one of them.
So anyway, and then some of the earlier signings that you were sending me examples of the photo ops, they're just absolutely horrific. Where the venue wasn't waiting for him to look up to take the picture, and some of these pictures it's someone posing next to Jet Li's head and he's looking down. It's a mess.
Well, let's be clear. That is not I don't think Jet Li has imported a photographer that's taking all these photos. That's just whatever clerk they threw up there from the store in Texas, who probably has never been involved in a signing like this before. Bookends and Barnes & Noble in Manhattan are going to be fine because they do these damn things on a damn near nightly basis.
I hope so. I mean, it is Bookends, and Bookends is usually fine. But now I'm going to have what am I going to, I don't know. I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis. Oh, but part of the reason why I am, just fair warning, I am very, very grumpy today. I'm operating on about an hour and a half worth of sleep because I was out combo hunting last night.
You could have slept in your car at work. You could have got extra sleep. Just saying.
Not really. I am actually busy all day at work. I had no.
I'm saying after combo hunting, you could have driven straight to work, slept in the car. You would have bought yourself maybe an extra 40 minutes of sleep. You could have washed up a sink bath in the bathroom before the doors opened up, class 316 style, and you could have been a little more rested.
Yeah, but all kidding aside, man,
you're fading.
Combo hunting on a Sunday night is crazy, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, I mean, I did some solo hunting, but you also did a bunch of solo hunting this week. A whole bunch of seemingly useless meets. But go ahead.
Yeah, unlike the titans of the industry you met last night.
I think I would still put mine above these, but go ahead.
All right, I got a couple of the watch parties from the promotion that honestly now you're so tired. If I said the name of this promotion and gave compliments, you'd probably have an aneurysm.
I would go
So
back and bleep it though.
since I don't want to do Jet Li solo, I'm going to sort of respect your wishes here and say I just did 2 watch parties on Long Island for 90s New York Knicks stars Chris Childs and Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was very smooth, easy. I was in there for about 10 minutes. Chris Childs unfortunately has gotten fat, and as a result of being fat, he was eating a lot of free food, which honestly I don't blame him. I mean, free food is appealing, and the bar was throwing all these like finger foods his way, and he kept eating them. So he was supposed to get up during one of the breaks in the quarter to take a picture and stuff, and he was just eating. He was still eating. And I figured he's scarfing down sliders. He's not going to get up and take a photo. Then he got up and did like trivia. So there was a lot of trivia and crap like that delayed my exit. I think I ended up watching the entire first half of the game, watching Chris Childs eat sliders. So, yeah. So that was a little annoying. But again, I get it. It was a free meet, which was great. And the bar wants you in the building so you could sort of skulk about and like watch.
But you could still, under those circumstances, not be coerced to buy anything.
No, I did not. I did not at all. Yeah. So that was my watch parties. That was very nice. Then I made up finally, which honestly has been bothering me ever since. I missed, as you guys may remember, I missed Trevor Bauer, former Cy Young winner, accused sexual abuse perpetrator of Major League Baseball fame, Trevor Bauer. He did the Fan Fest for the Long Island Ducks, which is his, I guess, probably final attempt to make it back to the big leagues. I missed it because I was doing leaves in my backyard, and I really just didn't think he would be accessible to the non-season ticket holders. He was. I missed out. I was annoyed. And the other night, they announced, like, legit, like 6, 7 p.m., that the next day he would be doing a signing at 5:40. So I got tickets for the next night's game. I went to Walgreens on my lunch break, and I picked up the prints that I designed within with 10 minutes to kill in my day. And Trevor Bauer was, he was great, but it was surprisingly busy down there because it was also a free t-shirt night. And the fans of minor league baseball love them a free t-shirt. So the line was packed outside I was there before gates opened. It was deep. When I got inside, I made a beeline to the line, and they capped it like 30 or so behind me. And typically a capped line implies that you will finish this line. But all of a sudden, when I was next up to the table, they started yelling how there was only 4 minutes left until he left. And there were probably 25 or so people behind me. And the only thing of interest while I was on the line, a marked out autograph collecting community user, Nick, spotted me on the line. And I used to see this. He's a kid now. He's in high school. And I used to see him, I guess he was in, I don't even know, middle school. This is sounding kind of weird, but bear with me.
We're going in an odd direction, but go ahead.
Yeah. He would go to Wrestling Universe with his dad, and I guess he knew me, I guess still from Marked Out. And he would come up to me and we would chat, and then he saw me here. And it was a very, very, very savvy, I'm sure he wanted to catch up with me, the autograph collector, more than twice his age. I'm sure that's what it was. And it wasn't just a strategic play to get onto a capped line, which he
yeah.
Yeah, he acknowledged the fact that they told him unless he knew someone in line, he was screwed. And since he's a kid and he was there with his dad, and it felt like the right thing to do for the combo gods, I allowed him to chat and cut. And I probably screwed several people behind me with that 4 minutes left thing. But oh well, they should be members of the Marked Out autograph collecting community. I wouldn't screw them if they were. But, Trevor was great, hit my pieces, took a photo, done, easy peasy for that. I don't have to worry about Trevor Bauer anymore. And then yesterday was the Ken Con 2. Ken Con has returned to Long Island. And you were not there because you were too busy, I guess, getting ready for your evening escapades. I'm sure you would have gone otherwise, right?
There's almost nothing that can get me. I mean, I looked. It's actually fascinating. I was looking at. This is not to yuck anyone's yum. Like, if you're into this, God bless. but I was legitimately looking at the photos that everyone posted from this event, and I don't recognize any of these people. I mean, look, if one of the more famous people in the building is Brian Myers, then that's not a famous building. You know, I mean, there's just, I mean, I was sort of interested in like Coco Beware looks really old. You know, Kurt Angle starting to look really old. But those guys, I mean, you know, Coco's a big, you know, a big name, and Angle is, of course, a huge name. But you know, by and large, it's just a lot of people I just don't need. And so if you like, if that's you, if you need those guys, if you need those gals, knock yourself out. I don't, and I have no interest in just going to hang out. So
you also said that Jerry Lawler looked like your dead grandmother after she died.
I did say that because he does. I mean, he looks terrible, and
At least
I
he's
mean,
alive.
he is, and but he definitely looked bad. And I understand. I mean, health problems and age and whatnot, they do things to you. But I was startled seeing the photo of him, thinking, "Wow,
Yeah,
it's rough."
he's definitely gone through it. But anyway, I had a couple wants at KenCon. As I was pulling in, this is where it gets interesting. As I pulled into the parking lot and found, luckily, a spot, because believe it or not, despite your ringing endorsement of the lineup and your ability to recognize them, that small parking lot was full. Which, I mean, that's not saying much since it's a pretty small parking lot. But I secured a space, and as I got out of the car, I checked my phone. And a marked out radio listener, Josh, sent me a tip that rapper Jadakiss was appearing that day in Queens at a dispensary. So I looked it up. It was around 20 minutes away from KenCon, and I decided to myself, hey, if I can make fast work of my two wants at KenCon, I may as well try my luck at the dispensary. Let's see what happens. So I enter KenCon, I find Rockin' with Dan, I find C-Rat with his very original, unique cart that I think you actually purchased after you saw him using, and you just want it to be like C-Rat. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that you're torturing this joke. There are lots of different ways that joke could have gone, but yeah, he's. I did enjoy his graphic, his AI graphic that he made of the cart on the racetrack was pretty funny. So. Yeah, the cart's making the rounds.
It is.
Sure.
But anyway, so I was in there. I did my thing. I got Jerry on a couple of pieces. I got him on the Mattel Retro, which to me is one of the best Mattel Retros they made prior to now that they're making the Hasbro cards exactly, and they look insane. And I have to like rebuy a lot of these, and it's my chance to buy the ones that I didn't buy before because this new card, the presentation is A1 right now. So I'm going to be all in on the new Mattel Retros. But anyway, I got my Lawler done. I got the rookie figure, the Bone Cruncher, done. I know you're not a fan of Bone Crunchers, but you should be. They're awesome. And I also added him to the Survivor Series 1996 program that I picked up in that big collection purchase.
And not only Lawler, but you had to pursue an incorrect autograph.
I did. I am treating it as the same way people go to Disney World and get Mickey Mouse to sign the Super 7, just because he's dressed like Fantasia. It's not actually the Mickey Mouse from Fantasia, but it is a valid representation of the character. It is the intellectual property, not the man behind the makeup, that matters. And I don't fully believe that, but I'm rolling with it because Matt Bourne is sadly dead. And while Lanza was online with me getting the Hasbro done correctly, I had the stupid encyclopedia, and I didn't get Matt Bourne on what I should have. So I got Ray Apollo on the Hasbro. I also got Ray Apollo on the Mattel Retro. And I actually kind of popped for Eric Sims as he's signing them, being like, just so you know, that's Matt Bourne, not Ray Apollo. And I looked at him, and he's a listener of the show, so I think he knew what he was saying. I'm like, Eric, you just completely just played into everything that other people are saying about me, which I think was his point. And mind you, he didn't make that correction until after I inserted cash into his fanny pack, as any good carny would. So props to Eric Sims. Doink hit my stuff well. I said my goodbyes, which weren't much after I said my hellos. I was out the door very, very quickly. And I made my drive, the 21-minute drive to Queens Village to try my hand at Jadakiss.
Yeah. that was you're racing all about town.
Sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes it has to be done. I've wanted Jadakiss for quite some time. The things he does are honestly a lot less convenient than this was. It was a fine neighborhood. It was close to where I was. I had the time.
And truthfully, you were scheduled to make a dispensary trip anyway, so you figured you kill two birds with one stone.
Honestly, when I go to these things, I wish the dispensaries were in my wheelhouse. As I pulled up, I get inside. Somehow I ended up walking up to the back door. I thought it was the front door. I don't know how that was even possible. And I was thinking
there's a joke buried in there somewhere.
Yeah. It was like a prohibition style dispensary. I thought, I'm like, whoa, this is really like low key. The signage is minimal. This is like you would think it wasn't legalized. And I realized I was in the back, not the front. So I made my way around the front. I went inside. And of course, which is why I sometimes hesitate on these dispensary signings, right on the flyer, not on Instagram or Eventbrite, but on the one in person. It stipulated that you needed to make a $150 purchase to be granted access to the meet and greet. I didn't have anything with me because I literally read about it that morning as I pulled into KenCon. I could have printed something at Walgreens, but honestly, that's not my hip hop collection's almost exclusively vinyl, and then a couple of the regrettable CDs where I didn't have a choice for vinyl. So I wouldn't really want an 11x14.
But I honestly, getting a Jadakiss vinyl would not be easy either.
Yeah, I mean, right? I would have needed.
That's certainly not at all.
I would have needed time with eBay, and I actually had a couple of days because it turned out my friend who was at this signing, she messaged this to me on Instagram like 4 days prior, but it was in my private. She messaged my personal account, not the Marked Out account. I don't check my personal account every day. It's all about the Marked Out brand. So I missed it. So yeah, I was half cocked. I had nothing to do. So I decided to just bite the bullet, and partake in the event because I was already there and I needed Jadakiss, and rappers have been known to get shot and killed. So, I mean, let's not take anything for granted here. So I did my thing. He was supposed to start at 1. I think he started at 1:40, which is about 20 minutes early on rapper time. So that was pretty good.
And so you got everything you wanted from Jadakiss then?
Yeah, I guess it was his decision. They had a backdrop with the store branding like all set up, and then they like moved it. And I was joking with my friend. I'm like, what are they gonna like line them up, wrap us past the cash registers? And they announced that he was gonna just sort of be behind the register and you would go in front of the register, which is whatever. Like, I guess he didn't really want to be all up on the people, which frankly, I don't blame him. But I mean, for the store, like my picture, you don't know where the hell I am. The store did not get the branding bump out of that. But I guess if that's what he said he wanted to do, that's what they did. And on my end, it was fine. I wish I had time to get a vinyl. The person I was with had a couple, and it was sort of a rookie mistake, I guess, because she had paint. And he like stacked them all on top of each other. So the first one looked good, and the other ones were all smeared together. If you're gonna, it probably would have a time for Black Sharpie since there was going to be stacking involved. But I mean, the one that looks great, and the other ones, I mean, it's whatever. I think it was stuff she had in her collection. It didn't cost her anything, but always disappointing to see that not everything turns out as you hoped.
Absolutely.
All right, and then
that was your weekend.
Exactly. And I want the listeners to know that all of a sudden, I've never had you care about any of this. You're like, but wait, shouldn't our reports all be chronologically ordered? And I said, sure. You wanted your damn thing to be the main event of our reports. Just let the listeners know how vain you are.
Yeah, I guess. So yesterday, sorry, a little bit of a rewind. So a couple of years back, before we did this podcast, I had commissioned a Funko Pop set, a custom Funko Pop set of the Kids in the Hall, the sketch comedy troupe from the 90s. And I had basically each of them, they have a lot of different characters they play, but 5 of the characters who I recall as being ones that I like, I had them made into a pretty elaborate set. And I brought the box, because I hadn't made the figures yet, I had the box made. And that was a couple years ago. I went out to San Francisco Sketch Fest, and I got them all to sign the box. And I wasn't really paying attention, because you're in the combo hunting moment. It's like you're very high, and by the time I got back to my hotel, I noticed that the Dave Foley autograph on that Funko box was just a hair smudged, just a teensy weensy bit smudged, and it bothered me. And so I always vowed that at some point I would try to get Dave Foley again. He hasn't really been doing a ton of cons, but he is booked for Star Trek Vegas. And so I was, working out a deal with someone. By the someone that's the little rat Zach Linder, to bring that to Vegas for me. Well, a couple weeks back, I saw an ad for a charity benefit show in Brooklyn. And it's a really strange lineup. It's David Cross is the headliner, Dave Foley and Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall underneath, music performed by Brendan B. Brown from the band Wheatus. So the couple, and now, again, you guys would have no idea of this either, but I had actually tried to get him as well when Wheatus opened for Bowling for Soup a few years ago, and that was like an impossibility. It was the Paramount in Huntington. There was no way to get them. And so I have been on the hunt for Brendan B. Brown from Wheatus as well. So I see this show. I need Dave Foley. I need Brendan B. Brown. I would certainly get David Cross if he's there. I mean, obviously he's a good name. So I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer for me. Now I buy the ticket, not really thinking of it too hard that it's like a Sunday night in Brooklyn. So you're talking about a solid 90-minute drive away. But, I bought the ticket, and lo and behold, that show was yesterday. Now, I was like, I don't go solo combo hunting too often, full disclosure. And so it was a little bit harrowing for me yesterday. The whole planning of it, figuring things out, what to do, and you were sure to critique every single one of my choices along the way.
I was trying to help, but yes, I critiqued every one of your choices. That is true.
So let's start with the beginning. So unfortunately, I underestimated the time it was going to take to get there. I figured it would take an hour. I budgeted an hour and a half. It actually took 2 hours. And so I missed the talent's entry into the event. Now, at events like this, getting the talent on the way in is the easiest, smartest thing to do. And so missing that dramatically increased my stress level for this evening. Now I know they're inside. And I go in, and I had purchased a preferred ticket, which guaranteed you seating in the first 2 rows. And again, I have a little bit of an advantage going into shows like this, insofar as, like, I am not brain damaged that I know of. Obviously, you wouldn't know if you're brain damaged. That's the whole kind of catch-22 of being brain damaged. But anyway, and so I make a beeline. As soon as they let us in, I make a beeline. It's unassigned preferential seating. So I make a beeline for the front row on the edge, on the aisle, and I just plop my ass in it, figuring that would gain me access to the stage if I wanted to hand stuff off on the stage, which I figured might have been an option. And it actually turned out to be an option for me. So, not gonna lie, the night was kind of agonizingly long. I mean, the kids in the hall were funny. The rest of them were not. David Cross kind of sucked, to be honest. But I kept waiting and kind of figuring, like, when am I going to be able to get these people? Are they going to leave? I was nervous. Are they going to leave? At what point do I run out of the building? So at some point at around, I want to say 9:00, Greg 2600 shows up and he's waiting outside. So I get less nervous, figuring that Greg can now provide reconnaissance if someone dares to make an escape. And in fact, that is what happens as David Cross finishes his set and then immediately walks off the stage, out the building, and just leaves. And
which
so
I warned you about.
Right, but there was just no chance. But I was not going to give up my prime position for the other people who I wanted more to try for David Cross, who would have been an incidental get. That was my view. And I believe that view was vindicated, because had I gone for David Cross, I might not have got Dave Foley. So the show ends, and as soon as Brendan B. Brown's still on stage, and I kind of hand him my vinyl, my Wheatus vinyl, on stage, and he signs it for me right there. So first hit is done, stage handoff. So right away I'm feeling pretty good, and I can come back for him for the op later, which I do.
Which pen did you give him?
Black Sharpie.
Safe move.
It was a safe move.
I agree. Yeah.
And I mean, and honestly, it was kind of the color of the vinyl was a kind of a little bit of a strange color that I really wasn't like. I had brought a silver deco, but I feel like doing a stage handoff with a silver deco would have just been a hostile act. So I didn't do that.
No, I think Black Sharpie was the way. Black Sharpie was the way.
So that turned out really good, and then he hit it huge, and he was like, oh, he was thanking me for doing it, so that was fine. Now after I did that, I turned and I see Dave Foley leaving. So thankfully, some gigantic lummox grabs Foley in for a photo, which slows him down enough for me to catch up. So that I catch him on the way out the side door, and I'm like, hey Dave, I need you to sign one for me, please. And he's like, oh, I have to go, and I'm like, check this item out, and I just kind of shove it in front of his face. And I had all the Funkos in there. It's a very impressive looking item. And he's like, what is this? And I'm explaining it to him and showing him. And then he happily hits the graph in the right spot. Now, funny thing, you had been making fun of me because I actually did make a little bit of an offering to the combo gods before the show started. Do you want to explain that? Because I mean, that was how I explained it to you.
Yeah, honestly, I think I have an idea now for a new T-shirt. You pointed the baseball bat, or dare I say the paint pen, to the spot in the bleachers. You were going to launch your Babe Ruth-esque home run. You called your shot, and you wiped the slightly imperfect autograph that only someone with undiagnosed brain damage would mind and would be bothered by. You wiped it from your house. You were stuck in traffic. You could have had God knows what could have happened there. You never would have made it there. Dave Foley could have died. And you would have completely just made your item incomplete to be perfect. So you made a pretty big offering to the combo gods. I agree.
Yeah, I did. I wiped it at home, but I mean, you were telling me to wipe it there, but I needed to. It's a very delicate item. I needed to wipe it in a controlled, safe environment that I wouldn't accidentally wipe off someone else's autograph. God forbid I wipe off Mark McKinney's. I'll kill somebody. He was so difficult to get. So it was just a decision that I made. I was figuring, let me express confidence, and I'll if I act like a human being in that moment, even though I'm carrying around this gigantic box of nonsense, that things would work out in my favor, and they did. Dave stopped and signed, which I felt great about. At that point, I go over to Brendan B. Brown, who had since come off the stage and gathered his stuff, and I got the selfie with him. So now he is Virgilized. And then at this point, Greg texted me that actor Kevin Corrigan. So Kevin Corrigan had made an appearance as well. He's from The Departed and Pineapple Express. He's done a bunch of movies. He's kind of like this weird sort of, how do I explain it? Kind of like a goofy, kind of weird character actor. He's really a lot of fun in the movies. He's great in The Departed. Do you remember him in The Departed?
I remember him in a lot of things. He was also in, what the hell is that show with Donnell Logue, that sitcom, Grounded for Life, I think. He's always like...
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, he might be a serial killer. He might be an unemployed former GameStop employee. You don't quite know what the hell he is, but he plays his parts really well. He's awesome.
He's excellent. He's really excellent. And he was a very strange guy last night, too. And I wasn't sure if he was doing a bit or if that's who he really is, but incredibly accommodating. Greg texted me. He was outside. I asked him for the op. He threw his stuff in the car and then came back over to me and did the op. Came out perfect. Greg 2600 took the op for me, which was great. And so then I hung out with Greg for a few minutes as we waited for Kevin McDonald to come out. And honestly, I can't stress enough. I love the kids in the hall. Those guys, I mean, I love Scott. I love Kevin. I love Dave. Bruce and Mark, a little bit harder to get along with, but I love those guys. I love their kind of humor. And this is like an exact point about why I love those guys. So it's at this point, Kevin McDonald is literally the last person to leave the building. He comes out with the employee as they're literally shuttering the gate on the building. He closes the building out. Okay. All right. So when he comes out, there is a taxi that has been called that is waiting for him. It is me, Greg, and then Kevin comes out. So now Greg has an autograph he needs from Kevin. So he's holding a pen and he's holding the folder in front of Kevin. And Kevin looks at Greg, he takes the pen, and then he goes, hold on 1 second. And then he walks with the pen over to the taxi, and he leans in the driver's side window, and he says, can you just hang on for a second? I'm a very famous comedian, and I have to sign some autographs for my fans. Now, if you don't understand the Kids in the Hall, if you don't understand Kevin McDonald, you think he's like a narcissistic psychopath. This is all a bit. He is doing a bit for me, Greg, and the taxi driver, and nobody else in the world. Okay? That is freaking fascinating to me. That this is a comedian. It really reminds me of when Howard Stern was interviewing Jerry Seinfeld, and he's like, does your comedic brain ever shut off? And Jerry replied with, no, it's a curse. It's a curse because I can never stop. Everything's a bit. Me with spending time with my family is a bit. Like nothing ever stops. And it's funny because like Kevin was doing a bit. And so I said something like, Kevin, it never stops, does it? It's always turning. The wheel's always turning. And he kind of looked at me and laughed. And then after he signed for Greg, and then he asks me, what do you have? I'll sign it. And I don't have anything. I want to tell you, I love you guys. And I'm a huge fan, and I wanted to, just say, have a good night. I was always there just chatting with Greg. And then so he goes, the price of fame. And then he jumps in the taxi and they takes off. And it's just this completely insane, surreal moment. But it's a reason why, one of the things that you had joked with me or made fun of me or whatever was that I bought a ticket to this event, and I was sitting in the front row and I was actively watching it as opposed to like pacing outside on the pavement waiting for the event to end, purely combo hunting. And yes, my argument is, go ahead.
I was waiting for you to finish your report before I pointed out all the mistakes you made. So thank you for bringing up my criticism.
So, but for me, the whole enjoyment is derived from the performance. I am only a fan of these things. I'm only a fan of these guys. I'm only a fan of all this because I watch these live performances. I can't enjoy this at home in the same way. I need to be, for music, I need to be at live performances. For wrestling, I need to be at live events. For comedians, I need to see them perform, or else I don't have the interest. So for me, it's as important to experience these types of events as it is to get the combos outside. The fact that I was able to pull off both, I would rather attend the performance and miss David Cross than miss the performance and get David Cross, if that makes sense.
Let's be fair. If Greg 2600 was not outside, you would have missed Corrigan. So it's more than Cross.
No, because it took him. No, that's not true. Corrigan was out there for several minutes after I got out faster, but I would have gotten him because I was on my way out anyway.
Okay. Also, with the Brendan B. Brown thing, you ended up almost missing Dave Foley, who was out making his way out the door. If not for the lummox that slowed him down, you may have missed him. Had you waited on the street, you would have seen all these guys trickle out. You probably would have had the same success.
I believe if I would have hit Foley outside, I wouldn't have got him because they whisked him. There was a car waiting. They whisked him right into it. I think the move, because my move was always to hit Foley in the lobby because that's, you could block the door with your body more or less. It's easier for him to sign than to walk away. Once he got outside, it's forget it. So my plan was to try, because I was texting you guys this the whole night. My plan was to get everyone indoors. Corrigan, I just missed. I don't know how he slipped past me, but the other guys, I was trying to keep eyes on them at all times.
No, I've been the whole plan. I've been in your position before, and being inside for things it's definitely valuable. But my argument that I made to you yesterday, and I'll raise it here. It's not normal. It's not sane. But when you go into something, for combo hunting and for enjoying the performance, if you're trying to do both things, you are going to half-ass both things. It's impossible to be fully present as a combo hunter or as a member of the audience. And I see your point. I understand. And all's well that ends well. You managed to enjoy the show and get who you needed. So it's definitely doable, but you were playing with fire. You were gambling. You really were feeling yourself. Did you have the Combo God shirt on as like an undershirt or something just to bring
you close? I wore my Kids in the Hall shirt as an insurance policy.
Smart move. Okay. But yeah, you were playing with fire. Honestly, even having seen the show, you may have been safer to instantly run to the lobby, back to the door, and been like, all right, now no one can get past me. Trying to get people here and there within the confines of the building is risky, but at the same time, sometimes that's the best opportunity you're going to have. So it worked out well. Luckily, Greg 2600 is omnipresent. He is sort of everywhere all at the same time. And, he's like the Batman of combo hunting.
Yeah. But I mean, the only issue was that this event, which started at 8, I didn't get out of there until midnight. So I really didn't get home till like 1:30 in the morning. And, I wake up 4:00 in the morning, every day. So I am really feeling the effects of that hunt last night.
I'll be honest, I felt the stress too. I was laying in bed, trying to keep awake, watching the exploits from the group chat of you and Greg. I was enjoying it. I felt like I was there, only I was more comfortable.
We really were giving an absurd play-by-play of the whole thing. I really had a fantastic time. The shenanigans with Kevin at the end of the night was just icing on the cake. It's one of the reasons why I keep coming back. Every time the Kids in the Hall have a performance in New York City, one of them they do these one-man shows and whatnot. I'll do my best to make them because they're great. They're so funny. Watching Dave and Kevin do live versions of sketches that they did, 30 years ago. There's nothing really like it. It was a lot of fun. So and that was my report of Pineapple Fest. There were some other people there who I didn't try for, but they also dipped early. Loudon Wainwright, who's Rufus Wainwright's father, the songwriter. He did a little set. He performed, but he dipped early also. I think that was it, actually, of note. Just him. So I feel like I didn't miss too much in staying, and I would have, had I gone for him, I would have missed other things, so other performances. So all in all, it was a good time. We had a busy weekend, but there were other people out and about the rest of this week as well. So we had our first ever video report this week. Mario, wow, I don't know. Do you know Mario?
I do not.
I don't know him either, but he found Tony Hawk out and about and had a very cool video report there. So that was kind of neat. Mike Simon, he kind of gets the MVP this week for his report that got just a ton of all kinds of hilarious comments, got a ton of play. He went out for Marsha Brady, Eve Plum, and he
not Marsha Brady. What the hell's her name? Jan Brady, the middle one.
Yeah, you're right. Jan Brady, my bad. The real Jan, not fake Jan, right?
No.
Yeah.
No fake Jan. Fake Jan is nicer.
Yeah. So real Jan, not Marsha, and who was apparently absolutely miserable, not only at this stop in the book tour, but on every stop of the book tour. And you can see reports all over the internet how miserable Eve Plum was. And she not only refused to sign extras, which is her right, but she also mocked people for bringing them.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of like this. This is hilarious. I know Mike tried the breakdown and he like showed her his project that was signed by everyone but her. And she remarked something like, "Oh, it's heartbreaking" or something. And he's like, "Well, it doesn't have to be. You can sign it." And she's like, "Nope."
Just totally mocked him. And I'm not going to lie. I find that to be hilarious. It's all so funny. And I mean, she is practically snarling and scowling in the photos that she's taking.
Honestly, we won't see someone that looks more unhappy in bookends until tomorrow when you're at Jet Li.
I agree. I'll look that unhappy. Now I'll put on a smile. By tomorrow, I'll have slept. The issue is I haven't slept. I'm going to go to sleep like 8:00 tonight. And that's honestly the reason why this show is late is because we didn't have a spare minute this weekend.
No. But this to sort of tie in the whole Eve Plum thing to the larger issue, we had over 200 comments on that post. You guys want to check it out. And it sort of brought up the bigger issue of what does a book signing mean? What are you entitled to? Should she have done extras? Should she have been kind? Was doing a photo op above and beyond, was that enough? Like, it was an interesting back and forth, and you always have the people that are like, well, the celebrity urinated in your mouth, and you should be glad that they, didn't miss your mouth and get it in your eyes. That's like some people's outlooks. And then other people kind of hold the stars accountable. And it's like, I paid $30 for a book that is, I'm sure, god awful. And, Mike did not go there to have, if he read that, if that was like his new bathroom reading, I'm sure he would use the pages to wipe himself. That's how bad it likely is. So, like, you're there for the combo. Like, you're there for the photo op and the extras, presumably. So, like, should the author sort of be nicer and not scowl and not mock and maybe hit an extra or 30 for the crowd? Not 30 for one person, but just, like, should they be more giving? Or are we greedy? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. But that was the topic of discussion that came up from Mike's post. So definitely check it out and sound off on the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook.
Well, one of the things to note rather, about these signings was they were pretty poorly attended.
Yes.
She did not draw. I believe I heard that one of the signings had about 30 people. So these are not big events. There's no reason why she couldn't have slowed down a little bit. To burn through 30 signatures and do some quick photos. She's probably in and out in a half hour. You could to do an extra for the 5 people who might have brought extras would take no extra time. She really is just a hateful creature, which again on one level is sort of funny that one of the actors from the Brady Bunch, and one has to question the what pop culture value does the Brady Bunch even have anymore? You know what I mean? I mean, shit. There's no one, very few, the people are dying off who know what the Brady Bunch even is.
I don't even know. I think you could almost make an argument it never really had anything really like super, like beneath the surface redeeming. It was just popular in like a Full House kind of way. Like it really never really, I don't think, touched on anything societal.
No, it was bigger than Full House ever got, though. There were spin-offs and movies. There were spin-offs and movies. It was a big cultural phenomenon.
Well, let's not forget Fuller House.
I'm actually going to disagree because, like, the concept of the Brady Bunch blended family is a thing. People. Like, I remember growing up, people would talk, they're like a Brady Bunch, like a blended family. Like that's a thing that really wasn't talked about or seen as culturally acceptable until the Brady Bunch. I do think there is some cultural meaning there. I never saw a single solitary episode. If I'm being frank,
I would argue Different Strokes had a blended family. Had it was a bit of a more powerful, albeit the white savior complex stuff in it. But I would go Different Strokes kind of blended over family. Bunch. Well, I mean, yes, it was sort of. They adopted the kids,
but that's not what the whole point of Brady Bunch was. That 2 divorcees got together and blended their 2 families together.
Yeah, but I mean, was that shocking? That happened in real life. That wasn't like anything.
No, it didn't. People didn't talk about that stuff. That's the point. It was considered like taboo.
So you're telling me before the Brady Bunch aired, that you never had a divorced person and a divorced person with spawn that would actually say, "Well, let's get married and let's have the children not live in the." That's my
you're
point.
Misunderstanding what I'm saying. It wasn't that it did. It was something that wasn't talked. Do you understand that back in the early 80s and the late 70s, people wouldn't even talk about adoption? That was whispered about as seen as like socially taboo. So yes, that was something that was socially taboo.
Exactly why I'm saying Different Strokes over the Brady Bunch. Adoption. Interracial adoption was more taboo. That was a bigger seismic shift in like what we were talking about. You're
comparing apples to oranges, though. One is interracial adoption of strangers. The other one is a blended family. They're different things.
Okay, my point was the blended family was a little bit more, I got Starbucks this morning, and a little less, I hit a bicyclist on my way to Starbucks this morning. That wasn't that big of a deal to me, but I wasn't.
You're just not right. You weren't alive, so you don't even know. All right, it was.
Were you even alive?
Not when it first started, no. But even in the early 80s.
What are we arguing about?
Because you're just wrong. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. Yes, Different Strokes was a cataclysmic deal. Yes, it was Different Strokes was a really important show. but you're comparing apples to oranges. The Brady Bunch it was an important show, but I mean, whatever. But that's not even the point I was trying to make. The
I
Brady
just
Bunch.
wanted to see how you'd react to all this stuff with
It had nothing to do
1
with
hour of
anything.
sleep.
But anyway, what's funny to me, the real funny thing I didn't even get a chance to talk about was you lamenting that you didn't go for her. You haven't watched a single episode. You don't give a shit about the Brady Bunch.
No. I watched the Brady Bunch I watched it all the time as a kid. I definitely watched the whole series run at least once, probably twice. I used to watch it on a regular basis. I just never bothered, but I don't honestly have a good reason why I never did get any of the other ones. I watched every single episode.
I mean, what a horrific show. Just honestly, as soon as I heard the theme song, that was a channel changer for me. So, if I'm being honest. Anyway, other reports. So Zach Chiera went to the Northeast Car Expo in Connecticut. He got some ECW guys. Richard Rose hit the Allentown. So I'm going to be pronouncing things like crazy town today. So the Allentown Lehigh Valley Toy Show got Billy Gunn. Brian went to Crypticon in Seattle and got Adrienne Barbeau. She needs to make a booking on the East Coast already. I have that freaking Catwoman animated Funko. It's one of my few unsigned Funkos that I haven't gotten rid of. She has to hit it for me before she drops dead. She looked fantastic, by the way, in the photo. I really wish that she would actually make a booking on the East Coast. I digress.
I don't know what she's doing. Not good.
After the Sharpie Social, after Chiller Theater, that last Saturday, Class 316, he hit Broadway in the rain. He got Megan Thee Stallion, which, by the way, he got a great shot. He didn't know who she was, but it's okay. Patrick Ball, Alden Ehrenreich, Rebecca De Mornay. You got when Class goes out, he connects. He very rarely whiffs.
You gotta say though, Class waited at that guardrail in the rain until 1 a.m. I believe he said 1 a.m. for Megan Thee Stallion. And he's definitely never listened to any of her songs. Granted, you and I are going to bookends for Jet Li, so I mean, Glass House throwing stones. But it's just the dedication, warrants acknowledgement, because that's definitely that's a lot of time in very unfavorable conditions for someone that you're not really hugely into. Then we had another new reporter, Chris, who got Mick Foley on a bunch of items, including that new Chelsea Green Cactus Jack 2-pack prior to his Chicago comedy show. Mick Foley's always taking care of people at those comedy shows. He really knows how to sell tickets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why it's so important for him to sell tickets there, but not elsewhere. I don't know, whatever. This is me being tired. There's a joke in there somewhere. He racked for this guy. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, but I just meant going back to the Eve Plum thing. He understands the value of what people are really coming for. Like, yeah, his shows are probably entertaining, sort of. But if he stopped the spigot of combos, I bet you they'd be a lot less attended. And he's aware of that. Eve Plum apparently doesn't care and just, does her thing. That's the way a lot of people are.
For sure. Roy hit a con in Newfoundland, Canada. And you got Casper Van Dien, Michael Ironside, a bunch of others. Interestingly, Michael Ironside cut him a deal on getting a couple of autographs undercharged. Very interesting. Michael Ironside's a really nice guy. Seems pretty salt of the earth, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. You don't see that too often. And last but not least, a listener of the show, James. This was another first-time reporter, and I appreciate all reports, but let's be honest, some are better than others as far as the detail that's put in. Some you don't know where the hell it takes place or who is met or what this is, and they put 4 words in it. James gave you a nice story, and the thing that sort of tickled me the most was he had some old LP that Lorenzo Lamas was involved with, and he had Lorenzo sign it, and he excitedly showed his significant other, Heather Locklear, which, I mean, I think we've all done that before, where we go to our significant other with something that to us is just super exciting and important, and they kind of just look at it like we're ridiculous and just say, oh, that's nice, and just move on. And apparently she was not as impressed with it as he thought she would be. And it was kind of funny to see a famous couple behaving in a very ordinary way.
Yeah, it was neat. Wicked Ink Wednesday, another smash success. Rockin' with Dan posted his plastic genie lamp signed by the voices of Aladdin and Jasmine.
I'm jealous of that lamp, by the way.
I knew that's why I picked. I knew you would look at that lamp and be jealous of it instead of being contemptuous of it. And I find that as a grown man, I find that very funny.
I think I have to get one in the future. I didn't even consider such a thing.
You know, I hate to espouse very obvious like gender biases. As a grown man, I just can't fathom owning something like that. Nothing. You know, it's just strange.
I mean,
just imagine getting it signed, and they grab the little genie and they rub it, and the whole thing is whacked. All the Disney stuff is whacked.
Keep in mind, you have Mick Foley's wife's edible underwear in your house. So I'm not sure if you have any grounds to really make fun of anything for being weird. That's
an adult item. It's normal for an adult to have that. It's abnormal for an adult to have a genie lamp, for Christ's sake. No. One is normal.
You could use the plastic genie lamp in a very adult way. I'm not going to detail how, because we'll get censored.
No, it is absolutely ridiculous. No, this Disney stuff, I think we would be better off as a culture if we just burn these theme parks to the ground. And this way adults would go back to behaving like adults instead of God knows what. Anyway, the whole premise of like a grown adults just prancing around, talking to grown characters, it's just bizarre. It's all bizarre.
I love Disney World.
I that tracks. We are a bizarre culture. I think we'll be better off. Listen, if I'm in charge, my fingers on the nuke. We're in Disney World is in trouble.
Rockin' with Dan better run. He's not too far.
Yeah. I just find the whole thing just odd. But it's a nice item, I guess, if that's your scene. God bless. On the other hand, for talking about from one end of the pendulum to the other, Kent Clark posted his Cindy Crawford Playboy nudes signed by Cindy Crawford. And Kent has been really rolling out some really cool vintage stuff from the 80s and the 90s. And this is, he's very slick how he drops these. He casually says, I don't know if she's still signing nudes like she used to, kind of reminding us all that we will never be as accomplished as he is. So I appreciate that. It's amusing. And did you see Adam's Bret Hart jacket?
I did.
I mean, there was Gaga all over that thing. Quotes everywhere. Every quote you could think of. Pink paint, all crazy. Now, what's funny to me is you were sitting there getting all wet over the lamp, and you didn't think anything about the jacket? You don't want the jacket?
I mean, I want the jacket, too. I can want more than one thing. We don't have to be monogamous here on Wicked Ink Wednesday. I can covet many items.
To me, the jacket was cool. I admired the jacket.
Well, the problem with the jacket is it's I don't know where I'm going to put the jacket. The lamp could, in theory, be a centerpiece of one of my shelves in here, which is filled with stuff.
You wrap it in the garbage bag and you stick it in the closet.
That's true, I suppose. It's just as practical as the
you're
lamp.
Laughing. That's what my WrestleMania 14 jacket is. Where else would it be?
On a positive note, if anyone ever came to your house and ransacked, they would be looking for your valuables. They would never think it's all wrapped in garbage bags, and they'd be looking for normal things. And it's good disguise.
Yeah. Photo with Friday. We had some really cool ones this week. Martine with Shirley Manson from Garbage. That was pretty cool. Robert Quinn, who we met at the Sharpie Social, he was a lot of fun to chat with. Let me tell you, I didn't realize how out and about he actually is. He's all over the place. He gets everybody. And he got Maggie Gyllenhaal. And did you see that Rich Viola had a shot with Chappell Roan?
I love how many times we talk about Chappell Roan. She's
I know,
really
that's why
all over the show.
Chappell Roan, she's all over the show. So when I saw he posted a shot with Chappell Roan, I was like, damn, that is a get. Because Chappell Roan won't go near a camera or a pen now. So he got her before she went nuts. Very cool.
Yeah. Good job, Rich, and everybody else. That was I can't remember if I posted for Photo with Friday this week. I don't know.
I did not post for either Wicked Ink or Photo With. I just, I'm at work and I forget and I don't see the posts, and then it's at night and then I just forget.
See, I don't
You know
want
what
to post
though?
something good if I don't remember until like 9:00 that night. I'm like, oh crap! If I waste something good, half the people aren't going to like revisit the post, and they'll never see it. And of course,
I mean, that's because you have this very like you're very thirsty for attention on these things. I don't whether I get attention or not. Sometimes you just got to do it,
you don't
right?
want to
Because the
blow
whole
you.
point.
You don't want to, you don't want to light one of the good birthday candles at an empty party. You save some of the good
I
stuff.
dropped my pictures from last night at like 2:00 in the morning.
Bad idea. How many likes did you get? None.
I don't care. I don't care how many likes I got on it. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Likes. Turn these likes into currency that I can use. They don't care.
On the group, that's what they do, in theory.
Yeah. I haven't posted to the group yet. I wanted to wait until we talked about it. So
every 50,000 likes buys one T-shirt on the group. That's the currency ratio.
So some con news. Rumors are swirling about the con world that Chiller Theater will be moving to a different venue this year. Next show somewhere in Bergen County. I'm not exactly sure. There's the rumor mill is going, but again, we have no confirmation on that. We'll see. The big event announced a big headliner.
The animal Dave Bautista. He hasn't been officially posted on the pages and the website yet. I'm not entirely sure why, but Tom put it on his story. I, of course, saw it in his story, and I posted it, and that got some huge engagement on our end because like our page was essentially the one that broke the news first on a post level. And I think it's safe to say the big event did it again. Dave will be a headliner that will wrap around that track.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's a tremendous, in my estimation, tremendous pent up demand for Batista. And forget the wrestling stuff. I think there's tremendous pent up Marvel demand for Batista. I mean, I see significant demand for him.
Yeah.
And he's just not that common. He used to do shows.
He did that one Rhode Island, which was before COVID, like several years before COVID. And I honestly can't. He may have done a Steel City at some point when it wasn't really in our field of vision. I'm not sure. I don't think he did. He hasn't done almost anything in years and years and years. He is, like you said, huge. I think the Marvel fans could almost equal the WWE fans, perhaps exceed them. And I don't think Tom cares to anymore now that he has Chill Out. But this would be an interesting big event if you want to try to make it a like hybrid show. Because I think Batista is going to bring in a lot of non-wrestling collectors.
You don't? I think he will.
I said he will. I said I think he will. But I'm saying with Chill Out existing, I don't know if Tom still has a desire to make big event like a sort of catch-all type of show.
I don't really care what Tom's desires are. He's going to draw those people. So
I'm saying that's my point, that as a vendor or someone else, if you brought in non-wrestling talent, this may be the big event where they will actually do well. I'm not sure. It would depend who. But I mean, if anyone wants to bring in a Palm Clementif, I think she would probably do pretty well at this big event.
I still couldn't pick Palm Clementif out of a lineup.
Same.
Truthfully. Okay. This is upsetting for me. Mortal Kombat Day in New York City. They have Daniel Pesina, who was like all the ninjas from Mortal Kombat. That's May 9th. I can't go. So that's pretty upsetting. I'm going to be out of commission starting on May 6th. So I'm not going to do
that's this week. Yeah. Wow.
It was in 2 days. Yeah. So it's unfortunate that I will not be able to go to that. Mortal Kombat is one of that's one of my things in life. I love Mortal Kombat. I loved it as a kid. I was obsessed. But just I don't know. It's just bad luck for me. Like the timing. I mean, if it was like a week later, I would be able to swing it. But there's no way on the 9th I'll be allowed to do that.
Might be able to suck it up. Just go.
It's not wise or safe to do that. Steel City added Brett Gelman and Joe Crest from Stranger Things. They added the Burns twins from The Shining, and the young girl from Yellow Jacket, Sophie Nellis, however you say her name, from Yellow Jacket. I mean, will she cancel like all the other Yellow Jacket people have canceled? Probably. It seems like every Yellow Jacket person that's been booked is canceled. You notice that?
Yeah.
I think you're in suggesting mode, not editing mode.
Yeah, apparently. How the hell I don't know how that happened.
You clicked suggesting mode, and you're just making it worse. I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. There we go. Rhode Island Comic Con, they announced NCIS week. So you started, of course, because you are you started being all crazy about how they're going to book Chris O'Donnell, blah, 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 blah. Lo and behold, I said Katrina Law.
To be fair, I don't think I said Chris O'Donnell would be booked. I simply said that he is a natural con name that is long overdue for an appearance. But no, you were right about Katrina Law. The one I predicted would be Bakula, who was not added. But you have Katrina Law, you have Lauren Holly from Dumb and Dumber. She seems to be getting a pretty good reaction. Michael Weatherly, Cote de Pablo, or Cote de Pablo. I may have butchered that both ways. I'm not positive. Or and also then David Accord from Star Wars. He's like a sound engineer and someone I have no interest in meeting.
I wonder how well these NCIS names are going to do. I don't know who they are. NCIS is one of those really odd properties that it's been around forever. It's like a CBS property. The average age of the average person watching is in their 60s. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see.
I think NCIS is very much like Law and Order, not SVU, where it's in the real world, like you said, it has longevity. It's been around for a while, which would lead me to say popularity. But when it comes to a convention, I think people will be as excited about Michael Weatherly as they were about Chris Noth. And I don't think it's the kind of property that really works in this world, where I think, honestly, the dude making sounds for Star Wars will be more popular than some of these people that spent 9, 10, 11 years on a network television show that's a hit.
Katrina Law always does well. She was from Spartacus. Are you a Spartacus person?
Never tried it, but I've heard a lot of good things.
It's fantastic. I forgot that would involve watching a show. Spartacus is fantastic. All right. Terrificon added Charisma Carpenter. Okay. Fan Expo Philly added Christopher Lambert. So obviously he is doing a run. And Johnny Coyne from The Mandalorian. I don't really know The Mandalorian. What is he?
I'm not even caught up on The Mandalorian.
So do you know who he is? What is he?
I don't think I do. I didn't get to look him up yet. I got to see if I need him.
Scared Ice down in Florida, continuing to impress really with some good names. They added Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who hasn't done a show in a minute. He used to do shows every freaking day practically, and it's been a minute. And Elisha Cuthbert, who, she's good name. By the way, you need to update this. 90s Con canceled Freddie Prinze and Nick Carter and then re-added Nick Carter.
Oh, I didn't even see that part of it. No.
Yeah. They canceled Nick Carter and then re-added him. Unless since then they've canceled him again, but I don't think so. I believe he was re-added after this. So, but Freddie Prinze is canceled again, bringing his cancellation rate back to 100%.
I'll say, though, unlike a lot of the people that get all bent out of shape, I say keep adding him. One day, maybe he'll show up. Who cares? It doesn't cost you anything to cancel him. If anyone's dumb enough to buy an admission ticket because of Freddie Prinze months out, I mean, you kind of deserve to.
Yeah, but it's not. It's to a show like 90s Con, who they don't forget their audience are casuals. Their audience are not con mutants like us. They don't know. So I don't think that's really fair. I'm going to disagree. It's different. It's different. This is not New York Comic Con. This is not Rhode Island Comic Con where there's lots of, hardcores or Steel City. This is 90s. Most of these, the population it skews female and it skews people who don't go to other cons. They have a kind of a unique fan base. So I don't think it's fair to them to keep booking Freddie Prinze when you know he's going to cancel. What they need to do is they need to book Sarah Michelle Gellar. That'll be a game changer on Freddie Prinze, I think. But that doesn't seem to be happening either.
No.
So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. And if you're a promoter who tries to advertise without paying, I will continue deleting your shit. Get your Marked Out Radio merch on our ProWrestlingTees.com shop. We have some awesome designs out there, and if you catch us at a show, you'll see us wearing them. I've been rocking the Respect the Combo Gods design. You were rocking at the Chiller, the Staten Island Blue design, right?
I was, and yesterday I had the blue logo Marked Out Radio shirt. I was strutting around KenCon.
I actually want to buy. We haven't bought the other ones. I want to get the Fake Chiropractors Club shirt. I think that's the funny. I think it's really funny. And I got to get my Little Rat shirt as well. You obviously need that because we are the home of the Little Rat. So all these designs are available. Please buy them. They support us. They help buy equipment when we need it and allay certain costs. So please buy. Also, if you like what you're hearing or you hate it, you hate listening, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating or a review. You can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave a review or a comment on individual episodes of the show on Spotify. You can leave a rating as a whole, or you can leave a comment, a thumbs up or a thumbs down on YouTube. Once again, and I'm going to delete this from the line this week, I think we're out of vocabulary words. So once again, if you have a word that you hear that you don't know, or you think is weird, or you think you hear some terminology being thrown about by people in this hobby, we're more than happy to revisit the terminology. I think it's funny. But I mean, we did like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of these words, and after a while, I don't know if I come up with any more.
I think we need Class 316 to come up with new words.
I know he needs to. You know what it is? I don't think he's capable of coming up with new things. It's playing the old hits, you know.
Yeah, I'm saying just like you had the Old Testament, and then there was a New Testament. I think it's time for Class to come up with the New Testament of marked out vocabulary. And I think, like you said, his brain is too dry rotted at this point to have any sort of new thoughts.
So because in the past few weeks we really haven't been hitting the listener questions very hard. So we're going to make the main topic of the show and attempt to get through 3 pretty meaty listener questions. And we'll do our best here. Just so you know, I am fading very quickly. So I don't know if I can go 2 hours, but we'll see how long I can go here. So let's start with Ari's question. And this is something... Wait, why is this something we discussed on the... Oh, he took... Never mind. This is what happens when you're slow. So he wrote something we discussed on the group. $16 for a digital JPEG. It's 2026. They're using digital cameras. I understand them trying to chisel, but when they're charging that much and not giving them to you until the next day or so, it's kind of ridiculous. What do you think, Dana, about $16 for a digital image of a professional photo op?
Well, at first I wanted to sort of bash the $16 because, like, in my head, they're still $10, which is kind of crazy enough as it is. And I've been a proponent for a while on a selfish level of saying that it would be so much easier and quicker and more just, a non-existent footprint if the JPEG was the standard and the printout was the add-on. You would need less printers. You would need less manpower to operate the printers. It would make everything better. But the thing is, the average person, more people buy JPEGs than would buy printouts if it was flip-flop. So they're going to make less money that way, so they're not going to do it. And I thought the $16 point was kind of valid until I went on the Fanatics Fest website and realized I've been paying $14 for a JPEG. Granted, this is not a creation-style JPEG, where the photographer goes home and, walks his goldfish and shaves his back and gets them to you within like 5 to 10 business days. Those are at least instant. I understand the annoyance. You're paying $16 and then you don't get it right away because you want to post it. You want to show it off. Unlike you, Sean, some of us want likes and comments and engagement and we want to, create content. But I understand the annoyance, but I don't know. At the end of the day, everything was going up until we stopped paying it. And if we're paying hundreds of dollars for this photo op are we going to stop getting a JPEG for an extra $6, $7, $8 over what we deem to be reasonable? Probably not. At least I won't. I used to do scan only, but let's be honest. I think the scans look kind of crappy. You can tell the difference, right? Can't you tell the difference when someone posts a scan versus a JPEG?
I can,
Yeah.
for sure. It's a pretty significant difference. I also used to be scan only, but the scanners that we're using are not particularly like pro grade or anything. So the color saturation's weird and stuff. I would not. I do understand, his point, which is they're chiseling, right? There is no cost. There is, just to be clear, no cost associated with their providing this to their customers. It is a pure grift, right? I mean, the cost comes from the printing. There's no cost attached to the JPEG component. They just know that you want it, and so they're charging you for it. I like the shows, Monster Mania, where they offer the digital download for free. That's nice. It would be nice if more shows did that. I do think that it's a cash grab. It's unfortunate, but I think it's also that's like pure margin for the photo op company.
Want to know what they really should do? This is what I would do if I owned a photo op company. Start giving them away for free, but you really just work the extra $10 to $15 into the price of the photo op. That way people feel like they're getting something for free, but you're really paying, $10 higher than you ordinarily would. Though I imagine the pitfall there would be, it would fall into, depending on how talent works, that it would be a problem. But, all right. So what's take
the next
on this question? Did you already give your take?
I kind of did. I mean, I don't know what to really say. I think the photo ops should be free, but I mean, the people keep saying you need to remove the printouts. That's not the majority of people who pay for this photo op expect a tangible item in their hands. A lot of people want these dopey printouts. A lot of people get them signed, and I think we are the minority there. And so I think there will be a huge backlash if companies tried to stop providing them. I do. How do you justify charging all the money they charge and not giving you something for it?
I mean, the same way you do at a table photo where you take a picture, you don't have anything tangible. It's just on your camera, your phone.
It's cheaper than the pro op. The pro op, that's the point. It gives you something extra. That's literally the point of a pro op.
Is there a price where you would say I'm out on JPEGs? $25, $30? Like, at what point would you be like, I'll just scan it, or I won't get it at all?
I mean, I think it has to be dependent on what the op is and what the price is, and op plus op price plus JPEG price. If it doesn't hit a certain threshold, then I would make those decisions on a case-by-case basis.
That's fair. All right, our second question from friend of the show, Nikki. What would be a reason to walk away from a table and give up the autograph you were seeking? For myself, it would be either price or experience. Curious to see if there are other folks' thought processes are regarding being on the fence after getting on the guest line. I've passed on a few people in the past, but I still love my collection regardless of it being incomplete on certain pieces. So what do you say? You've done this more than I have, where you've sort of just gotten annoyed or you find that you don't have any joy and you just walk away from a table. What goes through your mind when you make that decision?
I have to you do it far more than I do. Far more. It's not even close. You start out with a list for a con and then chisel it down the day of to half of what it was.
Not half.
Regularly.
I'll take a couple.
I mean, it's for Chiller, it was half. You chiseled a ton of names off of Chiller.
Well, half of those names that you're talking about for Chiller were never on my list. Robert Wall, I never typed on a list. I said he was cool when he was like the third name added. He never made a list. The only thing that chiseled off my Chiller list was cancellations. Steel City, I chiseled a couple of.
Oh, you did. Steel City, you chiseled a bunch.
But I'll answer. I asked you the question first. I'll go next.
I think in the moment, if I purchased an item, and this is if I purchased the item and brought it to the con, I'm getting it done. That's it. But I would never be like so shell shocked by a table price in that scenario. I would already know what I was getting myself into when I walked in the door. I'm trying to think, when have I walked away from a table? Whose table did I walk away from?
Steel City you did, and then you went back. You walked away from that guy from that Netflix anime thing. the live action anime. You walked away from him and almost to a lesser degree Kevin Nealon. You were like, I may not do either one of them, and you did.
Well, that was for the photo op, not for the autograph. So she's talking about autographs. Yeah, for the photo op, it's like, if I look at them and I go, do I really care about this photo op? Because truthfully, if I'm op only on somebody, there's a reason for that. Most likely it's because I'm just, I'm getting them for the love of the game. I'm not a super fan. If I'm a super fan, I got some kind of graph that needs to be gotten. So a lot of those I cut. And especially if in the moment I look at them and I'm like, so honestly, I'm willing to cut table ops if I think someone looks bad that day. They look ugly or whatever. They look.
You cut Don Fry
because he's fat. Yeah. Fat Don Fry. It's not Don Fry.
And he looked bloated. Like he wasn't just fat, but he was bloated too. You said.
Yeah, it was terrible. Look, I also look at that guy who was in the Sandler movies when we saw him at Steel City, where he looked nothing like he did in any of the movies.
Yeah, Alan Covert or whatever his name is. Covert, however you pronounce it. That dude looked awful. I'm gonna view this question. I'll try to focus on autograph. I'm gonna take it as a table transaction. What would make me walk away from a table transaction? First one would be, in some cases, if it boils down to budget. I'll say as people get added, oh, they're cool. And then when you start having, the complete lineup before you, and you put this all on paper, you're going to drop $2,500. And I don't want to do that. And in some cases, if I did $2,500 on every show, I'd be, cutting things out of my actual life that I need. So I don't do that. So there are times like that where I'll look at fringe type of names and be like, I don't really need these people because they've added 12 others that I think are cooler. That's what it comes down to sometimes. In other cases, like I wanted the Degrassi people. They were largely budget. But it also, when I walk by, and I do this sometimes, if I don't feel... I'll feel urges and things when I'm at these shows of things I should get and things I should do that oftentimes I'll come home, a day later and be like, I probably didn't need that. And that's what's something I actually feel excited about in the moment. If I walk by a table and I don't feel excited, then it's the question of why am I doing this? The Degrassi people, why am I doing this? It's not the main people that I really enjoyed when I watched the show. I'll never get a lot of them. And I figured, whatever, I don't need these guys probably 40 years old or pushing 40. It's fine. I'll save the money. Maybe the day will come where I regret it, but it hasn't come yet. So it's a mix of those things, budget and feel. I'll never walk away based on experience. The top one could literally slap me in the face, and I would still get what I need because the experience is meaningless to me.
I would say I'm similar, I guess, at the table. If I get the sense that this is not going to go in a direction I want it to go, if I'm not going to get the certain pop from it, for lack of a better term, then I'll pass. And that's that. It's not going to be for price unless all right. So I passed on the Bucos at Chiller. And it was like $100 for the group photo, and it's like $100 for a photo with the Bucos. They're $20 names. They're not. I don't know. I'm not paying that. I refuse. They're not worth it, and so I didn't. So that's simple.
As I've said on here before, given your Sopranos collection, I agree. If I needed them still with the people I have, it would have been. I'm not going to die on that battlefield because of a couple extra dollars when I have everybody else. If you don't have the big ones, screw it. Why you gonna pay $100 for them and you don't have the main three? That makes no sense.
Wait, the main three?
You don't have James, Edie, or Lorraine.
You would put Lorraine as in the top three?
It doesn't matter what I would do. That's how they had it on the show. That's the order of the credits.
I bet that's because she was the most established name.
Yeah,
I really don't think I wouldn't put her as the. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I passed on Lorraine because of her price, because she looked like an old hag. So
that's, again, the whole, I would say, how the hell are you doing that with Goodfellas? But you don't have Ray, you don't have Bobby D, you don't have any of those guys. So it's like, what are you chasing? to have the number 5 from Goodfellas. If it doesn't bring you whatever, it doesn't matter. So I see where you're coming.
I find that so interesting that you care about completion for photo ops, but for autographs you don't. When autographs are much more permanent and meaningful.
I typically care about completion for autographs.
No, you don't. Most of your collection, I'll never get that. I'll never get that. You say it all the time.
Well, in some cases, it's opportunity. In some cases, it's fear of sending it away. And in other cases, it's just, I have 50 posters for The Undertaker. I could spend $6,000 getting them done, or I could not have my car repossessed. And I just don't have the luxury of doing it all.
No, but the point is you'll still get like incomplete thing. You'll get Tito Santana on everything and whatever.
Well, that's the same reason. I mean, I could have not started the Soprano photo op collection because Livia's dead. I didn't. Nothing's complete.
It's a valid thing.
I just you get what you can. It's like that's like a Class 316 kind of outlook of what's the point of anything? Life is impermanent. Why do we do anything? And it's like, yes, nothing is really complete, but you do the best you can with it.
It's very fair. And then finally from Martine, serious question. All right, we have to take Martine seriously.
Serious answer.
Ready to take it seriously?
Let's go.
I have a very hard time being serious. Okay. What would make you guys travel to a place as far as Chile? It's intriguing to me who would motivate you guys to do such a crazy thing, considering that a trip here would be at least a 10-hour flight.
All right. My answer is simple, and then I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent so I have something to say that means something. The answer is nobody and nothing. I didn't go to Atlanta for Kramer. I didn't go to Nashville for Kramer. I didn't go anywhere for Kramer. And Kramer was genuinely a big one. I've been grilled and judged, rightfully so, for that decision ever since. So there is no one except Jesus Christ and Marlon Brando on his shoulders could come back from the other side and be doing a meet and greet in Chile, and I don't think I would go. It's a huge trip. It's probably costly. I don't think my wife would take too kindly that I'm going to some foreign land alone that she doesn't get to experience. And if, God forbid, I had to take her along with me on this trip, it would be a longer trip. It would be more expensive. I wouldn't be able to go in and out and do this. And quite frankly, as deranged as I am with combos, and I am deranged with combos, I don't know if I like them enough to do that kind of a trip, a 20-hour round trip. I don't know. I don't think any of this stuff would bring me. I think if I had that as my cost of doing business, I don't know if that would be worth it to me.
So Seinfeld cast group op with Larry in Chile.
I mean, I can intellectually say, oh, shoot, I should really do that, but I don't think I'd pull the trigger. Same way I didn't pull the trigger on Kramer. I swore up and down I would, and I didn't. So you got to be aware of yourself, and that's what I'm trying to be here. I don't think there's anything, especially since I have all but Michael Richards. I have the rest of the cast, so I would no, I wouldn't. I don't think anything would get me to Chile. That is a trip. Something domestic, maybe, if it's one of those flights that's not that expensive and you could go, and I know that's kind of like a weird bugaboo I have. The thought of getting on a plane alone to go to a convention seems crazy. Even though I know if I did it, nothing would happen. A traveling experience, it doesn't matter who's with you, really. It's the same difference. But no, I think going international like that, unless I was going to make a whole trip out of it, and the family was coming, and I was going to just find time to hit something while I was there. That would be the caveat.
Listen, Jurassic Park reunion in Chile, I'm there. Terminator group op with Arnold, I'm there. I have no qualms about traveling. Who cares? It's like anything else. If there's something you want, you just do it. I think it would take a lot less to get me somewhere like Chile than you'd think. Truthfully, the problem is my wants are strange and at this stage kind of limited. And also on a trip like that, your ability to get autographs is limited because you have to, deal with transporting items and whatnot. So it would have to be something where I didn't care about the autograph at all. So some kind of rare, once in a lifetime group photo op or something like that. That would kind of be the only thing I can think of, pretty much. So for me, That's what it would take. But I mean, again, Jurassic Park reunion, I'm there. It's not even a question. I would go. I would book it tomorrow without hesitation. I wouldn't hesitate.
I'll tell
How
you
could I?
what, if you booked it, FOMO would at the very least get me to run the numbers. I would at least see what the flight costs. I would open up the airline site and I'd look it up. Would I pull the trigger? Probably not. I probably wouldn't like the number that was looking back at me and all the other factors that I detailed, and I'm sure I would end up not doing it. But FOMO is a powerful thing in my world, in my head. And if all of a sudden, I'm missing out on something, I would have that feeling of, ooh, let's see if I can make this happen. Even if I really, wouldn't and couldn't.
Is it really about the dollar amount of the flight? It's not as much as you think it is.
Well, listen, in a lot of situations with the moving parts I got going on, sometimes it has to be about the dollar amount. I do not have your income or your savings where I have the luxury of saying it doesn't matter. If I don't look at the dollar amount, I'm going to have some problems. I have to.
But what I'm saying is it's not as much as you think it is. Like, you spend a lot more on stupid stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then I'd have to stop doing the stupid stuff.
Yes!
That's
correct.
Not fun.
Opportunity cost. It is fun. Spending more on something good means you cut back on spending on stupid things. That is how, life works.
But the things you think are stupid are the things I think are good.
No, you don't even like them. I know you don't give a crap about that Mets thing. Come on.
What Mets thing?
The Ducks guy?
Yes, I do. I collect sports. And that cost me nothing. The tickets were free. It cost me $14 for Walgreens.
Did you enter the 11x14 in the database yet?
It's inventory, not stock. I'm not selling it.
So?
Everything. I'm saying it's personal collection.
Everything you sold. What do you mean?
I haven't started putting my PC stuff in the database. Nothing PC is in the database.
Where is it right now?
In my personal collection of Toya.
Oh, so you stuck it in there.
Yeah.
It's made its way in.
It's in.
I don't know. I just think that these piddling things, granted the freebies or whatever, who cares? $14, who cares? But the Jet Li thing tomorrow is just idiotic on every level. If I had to cut back stuff like that to do something in that would require a bigger expense, it's a no-brainer.
Well, no. Here's the reality.
Or a bunch of stupid Monster Mania ops or whatever. Who cares?
On Jet Li, there's a lot of things that are good that I've never watched. Up until 6 months ago, I never watched the Terminator, which is ridiculous. And I watched it, and now I'm a fan of the Terminator. It was really good. I enjoyed it. So I don't know if I'll see any of these Jet Li movies. I may. He was crap. He was in the Expendables 2. And the Expendables 1. So I did see Jet Li movies. Okay.
He was so memorable that you don't even remember he was in them.
Well, listen, I don't want to assume because there was an Asian guy in the movie that it was Jet Li. So
don't steal my gimmick. I said that before, and now you're gonna use the same thing that I said.
No. Look, crap. His name is on the poster. It says 2 letters, though, obviously, since that's what his name is. I didn't even realize it was there. Stallone Statham Lee. There it is. The third name on the poster. I feel vindicated now. I'm adding this to my Expendables collection. I was about to come hat in hand to the listeners and explain how I've never seen anything he did, but maybe one day I will, and sounding like Jerry. Until now, I realized I've seen and I've liked 3 of his movies that he was part of an ensemble cast. So I don't have to admit to being a psychopath because I was bailed out, and I can hide being a psychopath for another week, as if everyone doesn't already know it.
So I hope that was a satisfying answer, Martine. Listen, if you book it, they will come, and that's true of pretty much anything.
I want to get you, since it's so easy to get you to Chile, I want you to board the plane with your metas, and I want you to go airport grafting with Martine. Martine does really well out there.
I mean, you do realize, again, I flew to San Francisco and back in 2 days for one meet and greet. I have a history of doing these things.
That's why I'm telling you, go. Look at the content. If we had the TikTok, the reels and the shorts of you and Martine in Chile hitting these graphers, hitting the ports and the hippos and all this good stuff, it would be good.
Street graphing is not for me, as evidenced by last night where I was stressing out over the whole thing. I would really rather...
You're supposed to stress out, and then you feel good when you succeed.
Well, I have no. Although I did feel good when succeeding yesterday. All right. So let's get the show on the road here. What's coming up for us? So we are, as of right now, we're doing Jet Li tomorrow, but I could definitely be convinced to stay home if you wanted to.
Don't.
I really don't want to go. If anyone wants to buy a Jet Li ticket, can you sell them? I don't even think you can, right? Because it's tied to your driver's license.
Yeah, you'd have to like go and hand it off.
That's psychotic. I don't want to go. That's
You'll
tomorrow.
Be happy you go tomorrow.
What?
You'll be happy you go after you go.
You and I know that's not true. Like, why are you even saying that? That is definitely not true. I will not be happy. You are going to Fan Expo Philly for Mr. T. I guess that's worth it. I guess that's hundreds of dollars is worth it.
Yeah. Josh Gates Live.
Hundreds of dollars for Josh Gates Live. Worth it?
Yeah, sure.
Hundreds of dollars.
I wouldn't say really hundreds. It was like, yeah, I guess two of them. I guess two of them is hundreds. So sure.
Plural $100. $200 for Josh Gates, who most people couldn't pick out of a lineup.
Speaking of can't pick out of a lineup, how about that Altoona lineup?
What about it? It's great. Altoona lineup's great. Have you watched any of the movies yet or no?
No.
Okay.
I'll watch Empire Records tomorrow while driving to Jet Li. I saw that ad again, by the way, that you could turn your car's screen and you could like stream Netflix on your screen. And you still haven't gotten suggested that ad?
No, that's not real. That's not a thing.
I'm aware, but still, I keep getting it. You never do.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about my algorithm.
Yeah. I'm happy to go to Altoona. I'm excited for Altoona. I really I have a couple of items for our Empire Records guys. And I'm really debating getting some kind of item for the 100 people because
you have to.
Although there are a lot of them.
I don't
know if I want to. I'll do the group up. I don't know if I want to spend all the money on an item. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm trying to phase out the autographs a little bit. Fanatics Fest, as of right now, I will still not be attending. You will be dropping thousands.
Yes.
On Fanatics Fest, on basketball mostly.
And wrestling a little bit.
I think have we landed on Steel City versus Terrificon for sure, or we're still up in the air? I think we got to be still up in the air. I mean, neither of these.
I don't think
lineups is complete.
There's no reason to lock into anything at this point. I think we stay up in the air. I would say, as a betting man, I would probably lean more to Steel, just because, I mean, Steel almost always has a good lineup versus Terrificon is a completely different scale of a show. But there's no reason to lock it. Let's not forget, Terrificon had Keanu Reeves there in that weird little, 1 hour Friday morning appearance a couple of shows ago. So, I mean, anything's possible.
And then, of course, I will still be figuring out exactly what I want to do with the Keanu Reeves Simple Plan situation. And I do have a plan, but it's not yet executed, so we'll see how it goes.
Or simple.
Definitely not simple. Definitely not simple. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. And as of now, we once again have no public or private signings to announce, but I suspect that will change soon. Hint, hint. I'm looking here. I think I've come to the end of the list.
Yeah, or perhaps you fell asleep 30 minutes ago and you've just dreamt the finish of the show.
That is very possible. There were moments where I was drifting. If you didn't catch that, I was just again having no sleep at all was very difficult. But we'll catch up on that tonight and be good the rest of the week. And so we will be at Jet Li tomorrow. Stop by and say hello. I imagine they're gonna. I'm curious if anyone tries to graph outside the building at the end.
Oh, for sure. I don't know. I don't think it'll really happen. I'm not bringing anything.
Yeah, you're not gonna bring an Expendables item.
Yeah, probably not. Cause you would probably murder me if I insisted on waiting until after.
Well, who's driving tomorrow? Have we even figured that out?
No. I think you drove. I think the last time we were both there was Becky Lynch. I don't even know. God. I drove to Charlie Sheen, but you didn't go, so that has no impact on you. So I don't really remember. I think you drove last, but
I am pretty
I'm not
sure I did drive to Becky Lynch. Yeah. So
Yeah.
all
Was
right.
Becky Lynch the last one we did? That's the question. I think
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. That was a long time ago now. So making our long-awaited return to Bookends will be tomorrow. So stop by and say hello. Although we're not going to be hanging out. It's going to be an in-and-out kind of affair.
Well, keep in mind it's not pre-signed, so it ain't going to move that fast. But it'll move.
And hopefully he pre-signs them. I would accept that.
He hasn't been, so I don't think he will. But
I will see. All right. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, and Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
We'll see you next week for episode 97.